Welcome to a new episode of AW Confidential, where nothing is confidential. We're talking about all of it: life, the good, the bad, and the unconventional. I'm so excited about today's guest. She's amazing. She knows I love her. Raquel Castro is an actress, singer, and songwriter. The first time I saw Raquel on screen, she was only 7 years old, and she was playing the daughter of Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck in Jersey Girl. And I believe she just said that they just celebrated the movie's 20th anniversary, which is completely insane. Time flies. Since then, she has blossomed in so many ways, and she's honed into her many talents. She's appeared on Fox's Empire as Marisol. She's also been seen in Brooklyn's Finest, The Ministers, Nowhere, Liv and Maddie, and Already Gone. But her gifts don't end there on the big and small screen. She wrote the hit song Wrong Places for her and was a participant on NBC's The Voice, which is one of our favorites here. Raquel is here today to talk life, love, and music. Welcome, love. How are you? Man, I, it's a lot. I'm like, oh my God,
It's a mouthful.
she's quite a bit, and I left some stuff out.
Uh,
Congratulations on everything. I know
Thank
you have
you.
so much going on, and we haven't even gotten to your new music. We'll get into a little bit, but I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you're super busy, so thank you. Now, some may look at your life and say, wow, she's got the life, she's got everything going on. She's beautiful, she's talented, she's successful, she has all the things. But I know, as many of us know, life is a journey and it's never easy. Thus far, what has been, I'm going to jump right into it. What what has been your biggest struggle or something that you're working on that may surprise us?
That's a really great question, especially, I actually just deactivated social media for 3 weeks because
That's why I
I
haven't
was,
seen you.
yeah, I just got back on literally like 2 days ago, and I needed to do that just because I was feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated in so many different ways in my personal life, but also in career. And I think something that I'm working on is not being so hard on myself because I am my own worst enemy. And, I have people in my life that, they do their best to uplift me, whether it's my friends, my mom, and sometimes I'm like, Mom, you're my mom. You have to say that. Um, you know, Receiving compliments and praise is really hard for me sometimes because it's like, are you telling me the truth or are you just saying it so, to be kind, because I feel like nowadays there's like a weird blurry line with things like that. And I think, just having confidence in myself. You can fake it till you make it. And I really do genuinely try to express light and good energy. My friends always make fun of me and so because I'm so corny and I'm like good vibes, but I really do. I try to live by that because I am such a firm believer that what you put out into the world is what you're going to receive back, good and bad. And so I'd rather try and control as much good energy that I'm putting out and expressing gratitude for the things that I already have in my life. But it's hard. It's not easy to do that because we're human and we compare ourselves. I compare myself to girls online and people's careers and like how their timelines are compared to mine, and feeling, abandonment issues get triggered, and like all of these things, every day we have to deal with triggers. But yeah, it's so, I'm a firm believer that what is on the outside, I always like to look a little bit closer and a little deeper into people's stories and lives, because I know that we only really put our best selves out there. You're not
It's the
seeing
highlights, right?
the highlights. That's what it is. Social media is not real. It's just the highlights of somebody's life. And even if that, it might be, and that might not even be a real highlight. It might be something that they're like, so it's, to answer your question, it's, I definitely deal with like insecurities and believing in myself and you know not allowing fear to stop me from following my dreams. I deal with that every single day, whether it's in love and in relationships or in my industry. It's like fear could literally be your worst enemy. It's the devil.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, because I think, someone will see you and say, wow, she's gorgeous. Like she must, you give off confidence. But
Oh.
what I think what people don't understand is that it takes work. It's not like, I know for me, I don't wake up confident every day. I don't feel happy every day. I half the time, and I joke around, I'm a hot mess. And I just make
Same.
it work.
I like look at girls and I'm like, dang, you look like you got it together. Like I like this is like not the I'm like usually in yoga pants, like no makeup and like I especially after COVID. Who wants to put pants on after COVID? Like I'm still not recovered from that.
I know, I totally get it. And I think it takes a certain amount of vulnerability to share that. So thank you for sharing that with us, because I feel the same exact way. Pick a day and I feel like, okay, my hair is off, my makeup is off, my skin is off, whatever it is. And it's enough to take away that confidence in a split second. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think we tend to pick ourselves apart, which is, I don't know, it's almost like our nature to do that. Instead of
Hmm.
patting ourselves on the back, we're like, okay, let's look at what's wrong today, and pick ourselves apart. So thank you for sharing that,
Of
because
course. If only it was as easy to like literally like the thing, if we put so much energy on picking ourselves apart, imagine what we could do if we literally sat there and not in like a conceited way or but like in a way of like loving the things within ourselves. We want to be loved by other people, but we can't even give that love to ourselves sometimes. And that was a huge realization for me. And like also for women, something that needs to be talked about is hormones and like things
oh,
like that, like cycles and because let me tell you something right now. I could feel confident 2 weeks out of the month, but the other 2 weeks there's something called PMDD that is like
yes,
it's PMS on crack pretty much.
yes,
And let me tell you, I just got out of it, but it's you get hopeless. I'm hopeless. I think everybody in my life hates me. I'm not a good enough friend. I'm not a good enough daughter. I'm not a good enough coworker, whatever it is. I'm not. I write music. I can't write songs. I'm terrible. What am I thinking? Like all of these things, these intrusive thoughts. That's a cycle of every month in a woman's like,
oh,
and maybe some people don't deal with it as severely, but if you are dealing with things like that
it's
on a monthly
real.
basis, don't ignore it, and it is definitely real.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I read that around the time, because it ties into this, that I'm not sure if it was during or after The Voice, you dealt with some depression, self esteem issues, uncertainty, confusion, and anxiety. That's like every other month for me. But, but how did music help you during that time? I think music is, it's just got so much power. So you write songs and you create music, and I want to know, how did that help you during, and like you said, you have PMDD. So how does music help you? Because I believe it can be therapy, it can be soothing, it can be healing. What did
Yeah.
music do for you?
um I I mean, I definitely dealt with that. And I don't know if it was necessarily after The Voice. I think it was more so as a kid after I did the film and having just this huge gap of like uncertainty in my life and not having the same um success rate as I did when I was younger and being in school with kids that weren't really the kindest about that whole world towards me. And so I definitely dealt with it as a younger kid. But yes, during the time after The Voice too is when I discovered how, like, songwriting. I always would write little things in like my agenda book at school and like little notes or poems, but I never really knew what songwriting was. Like, I didn't think about it that deeply. And then I was surrounded by all of these incredible artists when I did The Voice, and everyone was playing the piano or guitar and singing songs they had written. And I was so inspired. And so for me, when I got back from Los Angeles, I think, I didn't do therapy as a kid, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to about certain things. I had friends, I had my mom, but like there's just certain things that you don't want to share with people because you're ashamed or whatever it was, or heartbreak. I was in a relationship when I was younger for way too long, and had a lot of trauma to talk about.
We all have at least one of those.
Yeah, not fun. But I think for me, when I was songwriting, some things would come out. Like, I really have these moments when I'm songwriting where sometimes I just black out. Like, I like will finish a song and I look back and I'm like, wow, that happened so quickly, and like, where did that come from? And it really feels like the whether subconscious thoughts are in the back of my head, or feelings that I'm feeling, but I don't want to admit that I'm feeling, they just come out. It's like this cycle of just like expressing yourself. And sometimes, like, for me, I don't even understand how I feel about a certain situation until I'm writing. Like, I'll sit down and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna write a happy song today, and then I start something and I'm like, and then it makes a turn and I'm like, ooh, but this is how I really feel about the situation. And it really is, it's just such a, number one, spiritual, but like very, um
Cathartic.
I don't, yeah, like cathartic, and just, it is therapy. It's a very
Yeah,
therapeutic feeling of like
I believe it.
putting something out and making art out of something that either hurts you or makes you happy, and like being able to look at it and listen to it and experience it over and over again after that.
Well, it's just like people ask me, when you write stuff, whether it's an article or it's a quote, it feels like it's happening to you or it's happened to you. It feels real. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
talking from experience. And I'm sitting there like, yeah, if I wrote that quote, it's probably because that's the space I'm in. And
Yeah.
sometimes it is painful, but getting it out there, obviously not like I don't purge. It's writing it in a, for me, in a way that's almost poetic, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. um it's not that I'm sort of spilling my guts out or anything,
No,
but
but it
I
is kind of, you're releasing it out of your body, because right now it's just stagnant energy in there. And
energy,
so like,
yes.
and it's like, that's why journaling is so important, and like people are such a big fan of journaling, because it's like, you have, how many thoughts in your head go through your head in a day? Like, if you're not getting it out and you're not releasing it, it's just
It's
sitting there, and it's like,
toxicity.
yeah, it's toxic. And so, and that's really the word I was looking for. It's just like, it's like this release that happens where it's just like I can breathe, and then I get to like sit and like listen as like somebody who maybe, didn't experience it, and like get to re-experience it and again, but like when it's said in such a way that helps it make sense, because sometimes we just get jammed, like our thoughts are just all over the place and we don't know what to make sense of it, and so
And let
that's
me tell
what
you something.
music does for me, is make
But
sense.
something, I mean, and it's okay. Sometimes the thoughts do not make any sense. I
Yeah.
mean, you know that. But you're right. The release, that's the piece that I think um, we all need to be okay with it. It's like whether it's journaling, writing a song, writing a book, writing a story, and
Painting, whatever,
painting,
something, like,
something, you have to release that. But talking about music, one of my, and I actually listened to it today. It's on one of my playlists. I loved Wrong Places. It's just like classic good R&B. It's that, it has that like old school kind of vibe, R&B vibe. And since the first time I heard it, it literally touched me, and I connected to it, to the lyrics, because there was such vulnerability. And I've been there, and that's for me, that's why I connected to it. I've settled for the wrong person, wrong relationship, wrong, whatever, wrong job, wrong situation. And um, I have to ask, where were you emotionally when you wrote that song?
Um, wow. I was okay, so it was 2019, and I've been in three relationships in my whole life. I was always a relationship person. So I was in my second relationship, and I we had broken up, and I moved from New York because I'm from Long Island, New York. Moved to Los Angeles, and I was staying with one of my best friends who's no longer here, but his name is Roman. He was like my big brother, and would like anytime I would come back to LA or I'd be going through a breakup or something, like he would always let me stay at his place. He's lived all over the place and always had a room that I could crash in and like rent from him pretty much. And so I had just moved to LA and I was kind of isolated. I was very isolated. I At that point I didn't have a big group of girlfriends and things like that. And so I spent a lot of time alone. I also spent a lot of time like kind of like drinking a little bit. Like, I talk about being wine drunk and faded, and I definitely was getting wine drunk and faded at that point
Been
in my
there,
life.
girl. Been there. I wrote my first book on wine. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be straight up. I mean, it was never like a problem, but I definitely was just in a space where I think I was numbing and I was like just in my own little world. I was
get it.
24 at the time, I think. And I just was kind of like, I'm this hopeless romantic. And I just was so tired of like putting time into things and people that would continue to disappoint me. And putting myself in the wrong situations. Like, I'm just like, why do I keep doing this? Like, I know that it's bad for me and I know that I should be leaving, but why
I
can't I? And
know.
why do I have, it's kind of just, and like, and it's really talking about like, I'm aware of this and I know that I keep doing this. And this is what I would want, like, this is really like, I am the hopeless romantic and I do believe it exists out there. And I've had every single boyfriend tell me like, the things that I'm looking for are just are fantasy, and like I ask for too much or whatever, but I really don't believe that. I know I'm very self-aware, and like I just, it's just, it's not, you're okay. It's just you're asking the wrong person for the
Yeah.
things that you need. It's
I
not that the things that you need are too much. You're just asking the wrong people.
I
Um
agree.
and that's kind of where wrong places came
I
from.
I'm telling you, I've had three, meaningful relationships in my life, and I am going to say this without getting emotional. I believe that everyone that comes into your life is for a reason. There's a lesson to learn. And when you meet that right person, it won't be too much. You won't be too much. I won't be too much. So I I think the couple of times that I've been in love, because it's been more than once, I felt that um, walking out of it, I was jaded, I was brokenhearted, I was devastated. And I feel now that there's no way I'm going to stop believing in love. I believe in love. I believe it exists. I believe that there is someone out there for me. And as long as I believe that, the right person will manifest. I believe that. So do not
Absolutely.
stop believing. I don't know if you found him or not, but
I
don't
have
stop.
not. I have not.
It's not the right time.
Yeah. It's just, you know what? I think that especially after this last relationship, I've had the last year to really do a lot of just self-discovery, and I had space. I haven't really had like a good amount of space and like quality space. Not the space where you're out partying and you're drinking and you're this and you're on the apps, and like I was like, nope, nobody talk to me. I want to be alone. Because it really is so true that if you're not pouring into yourself and you're not you don't love yourself in that way and you don't respect yourself in that way, if you don't come into a relationship at that level, you will be accepting way less than you deserve. First and foremost, you will let shit slide that should not be sliding, because I'm sorry,
Yeah.
when you come into a space, and now I'm finally like, okay, like I live alone, I pay my own bills, like I'm good, I'm working, I have a direction, I know what I want and I know what I deserve, and I can walk into a situation now and suss somebody out and be like, okay, like I'm not worried about if you like me, because I'm worried about if I like you. And that's the energy that you want to bring into those
Yeah.
situations. And that is what attracts your partner, I think. And that's why I am a very spiritual person. I believe in God and I believe in timing. I believe in I don't believe in coincidences. I do believe that everybody that comes into your life is there to teach you something. And whether if that's a forever something or a temporal, whether it's temporary or forever, like that is, there's always something to learn, and you just have to trust your gut and also know when it's time to leave, because
That's hard. It's hard.
that's hard. That's really
And
hard.
I'm glad you brought that up, because there's, I mean, so many people that are going to listen and they're going to connect to our conversation, because there's plenty of people out there that are settling in any one area of their lives. And I find, me included, we discount our self-worth in exchange for love, attention, or recognition. At the end of the day, we all want validation. And I have learned, oh man, that lesson has been, and I'm still learning, because it's like you revert back to a pattern. And I have a pattern of, kind of, it's almost like a negotiation. Like, okay, I'll dim my light a little bit because I want that because I want that love. So how do you make sure, because it's easy to do it. You just, I know for me, I want to be loved.
Yeah.
So how do you make sure that you don't negotiate your needs, your wants? And when I say wants, I don't mean, just your true wants that make you feel, I don't want to use validated, but real wants, not
Yeah,
superficial. Um
totally.
or just negotiate who you are to make others happy, because I think we do that quite often.
Oh, totally. I mean, I'm so guilty of that myself, and I have a tendency of getting in relationships and giving. I'm such a like
Girl,
giver and
and the more you
nurturer,
give, the
like,
more they take.
ooh, yeah. And that's the thing. That is the thing, because I have learned, and what I self-diagnosed myself with, because I have yet to gone I haven't been in therapy in this process just because it's freaking expensive, and I'm just like,
I
it's
know,
hard.
it is.
It's hard. But I do watch a lot of, like, I really like the idea of psychology and how people work and things like that. And I am very, I don't know, I'm very emotionally and like mentally aware of just things and triggers that I have. And what I realized about myself, I think, is that in relationships I give because it's my way of feeling like I'm worthy of love. So I feel like I need to go above and beyond, and I need to be Miss Wifey, and I need to do that, and I need to show you. I'm like, here, like, I'm lovable, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I was doing that in relationships so much that I would be draining myself and pouring into somebody else, and also
Oh, I just got chills.
staying when they don't reciprocate. So you keep giving, and you drain your cup, and you don't have a man or a woman in your life that's pouring back into you. That's a recipe for disaster. And I always did that because I was so insecure with myself that I didn't feel like if I didn't do these things, I they're gonna break up with me, or they're gonna think that I'm not a good partner or whatever it is. And now, after doing this self work that I've done, I've realized that's why I do it. It's like a trigger from my abandonment issues, and I think I have abandonment issues from different situations in my life, but also from I've been talking about it recently. Like, the industry, I think, also did that to me because I was in an industry since a very young age that required me to perform and to do things to get validation from other people and acceptance. And so when I would do a good job, they would all love me, and they would all want, I would get the good auditions, and I would get the good meetings, and everyone would give me attention as a kid. And then when I didn't have that going on, everybody left. Nobody answers the phone. Nobody cares. So I dealt with it at a very young age, and I think that kind of spilled into the way I go about in romantic relationships. And now I just think it really comes from within. Nobody can teach you how to do that. You have to know your worth, and you have to know what you expect, and listen, it's not, like you said, it's not superficial things. It's, I need somebody that's going to be supportive of me, and that when I don't believe in myself, they're going to be the person that's going to be talking life into me, because we all have those moments where we're down, and we need that person, especially somebody that is so close and intimate with us. We need to know that even when we don't believe in ourselves, they still believe in us, and they still see our light, and I need that. Obviously, I mean, I need somebody that's going to make me laugh. I need somebody that's loyal. A big one for me now is emotional intelligence. If
Girl.
I cannot have a conversation with you about feelings, and you can't communicate with me about how you're feeling in a healthy manner, I can't do it. Can't do it. So I just think it's realizing what it is that you want. Write it down on paper so you know. So whenever you're with somebody that is stepping outside of that circle of things that you need, that's just a clear sign that that's not your person. Don't blur the lines of your boundaries just to have somebody in your life, because you're wasting time. And that's why I'm not wasting time anymore. I'm going to be 30 this year, and I've learned so much, and it's not even my standards are high. It's just I know what I bring to the table, and I know what kind of woman I am, and I know how I want to be treated. And I also know that I actually really like being alone. Liking being alone is so cool, dude. It's the best feeling ever. I spent my last birthday by myself, the day of. I mean, I went out with my girlfriends for dinner, but on my birthday, I was alone. Thanksgiving, I was alone, holiday, and it was so liberating. And I feel unstoppable. I don't need anybody in my life. I really, and that's what you have to remind yourself, is that you don't need anybody. Anybody should not be instead of, it should be in addition to what you already have and what you're already really happy with. And that, I think, will set up a relationship for success.
Oh, that's amazing. There's nothing I can add to that you didn't say already.
Sorry, I
Oh,
was just
oh man, no. It's I think it's something that a lot of us do. We just we want to be loved, and I think we'll do whatever it takes to get that love. But if you have to sacrifice who you are or sacrifice your needs, um is it really really worth it? I used to think it was, but now I know, you know what, no, I'm worthy of
No,
that big love. I'm
it
worthy
shouldn't
of
be that hard.
I was having a conversation with some friends, and um, we were talking about relationships, and they said to me, you know, this person that you're, in awe of, and this was during a time when, the relationship was not working out the way I wanted it to. And they said to me, just remember, he's not the unicorn. You are the unicorn. So, you know,
Yeah.
I think we have to make sure that we pour into ourselves, and we literally, you have to fall in love with yourself over and over again. And, you know, embrace the good, the bad, the ugly, embrace it all. That is who you are. And we're all human, and you bring so much to the table. You don't have to compromise yourself. You just
Yeah.
don't. And, I know I've heard people say, well, your standards are too high. No, they're just standards. Those are my standards.
Those are
That's
your
it.
standards. The people that are telling you that your standards are too high, they're just saying that because they can't reach them. And so it's to make them feel better,
Yeah.
that it's not, has nothing to do with you. And just being aware of like what it is that you need is so powerful. And we have to just stop putting people on pedestals that don't belong there. Like, you have
Absolutely.
to earn your way to my pedestal now. I'm not going to just put you there. Like you have to show me that. And it's not like fancy dinners and like it's not about that. Who are you? What kind of heart do you have? How do you think? How do you care? How do you show the people in your life that you love them? Like, what is your love language? Like it's all of those little things that like add up to a huge thing that then and only then will I allow you to be on that pedestal in my life from now
I
on. I'm not saying in the past.
I'm gonna close by saying this. I used to fall in love with my eyes closed. It
Hmm.
was blind love. And now I fall in love with my eyes wide open. No one is perfect. And I just have to know what my deal breakers are and go from there.
Yeah.
Because um, there's not, this perfect person out there, but I believe there is, someone out there who's willing to sort of have that give and take, because it's like a dance. You're
Hmm.
not going to get everything, but I will get most things.
Yeah. It's
and
there's
I
nobody that's perfect out there, but there could be somebody that's perfect for you, and
and I
that
would
all of
never
the things.
and I would never ask for something that I'm not giving. You know what I
Totally.
mean?
Totally,
So,
totally. I
oh my
love
god,
that. Falling in love with your eyes closed. That's a really good concept.
with
I
my
like that.
eyes wide open. Yes.
Yeah, no more eyes closed, eyes wide
No more
open.
eyes closed, girl. That's the Disney days are way over.
This ain't High School Musical, okay?
Oh, that's right. So as every there's our audience knows that sometimes I like to play games with my guests. And I've done rapid fire questions. I've done 20 questions. And for the first time, I'm going to play a game. So I'm all about this game right now. And it's called We Connect. And I
Okay,
am going to pick a question and it'll be random. Are you up for it?
I'm up
I'm
for
going
it. I'm nervous.
don't be nervous. It's just going to be something that has nothing to do with me. So whatever the card says, that's what you'll answer.
Okay,
All right. Ready? Let's
ready.
see. Let's see. All right. Okay. Oh, I pulled out two. Okay. What is one crucial ingredient for true happiness?
Hmm.
And happiness is different for everyone. So,
Knowing that there's never a time to be happy. Like, don't wait for something to happen in your life to be happy. Just knowing that happiness is already within you, and um you just have to do the things to kind of every day like let that part of you shine. And I don't want to say that because it's such a vague way of saying it. I do believe that uh it's hard to answer that because there's so many people that have so many hard things that they deal with in their life that the happiness is so feels so far away. But
and it's
I
also a
think
moment, right? Happiness
it's a
comes in
moment.
moments.
It's a happy there's ebbs and flows of life. So
Mhm.
we're never going to feel 100% happy all the time. It's just not it's not in our DNA. Like we're humans, we have triggers, we have things that happen to us that test us and that put us in really hard places sometimes. For me, the only thing that's really gotten me through this last year is God, and whatever that is to anybody, that is
Higher
your own
power,
belief.
universe, what?
But
Yeah,
knowing that
whatever.
higher power and that universe and surrendering, you have to surrender to almost everything in your life. Because if we hold on too tight to the outcome of things or what we think it should be or want it to be, a lot of the times that's not what's right for us. And we just have
Mm.
to surrender. We have to put our order in and surrender the rest. And
Oof.
whatever's meant to happen will find you. Seriously, that's the only way that I could stay at a certain level of happiness in my life and be really consistent with it. Because if I don't have that in my life, the hard times are real hard. They're real hard and they can get real dark. And so that's my way of just
Thanks.
knowing that everything is going to be okay. Even if it's not right now, tomorrow's a new day. And that's just a part of life.
Thanks. I needed to hear that today. I really did.
Oh, good, good. That was a good question.
So, one of the things I love to do when I end interviews is have our guests share a quote, mantra, or piece of advice. And I wanted you to share for anyone who's feeling lonely right now. What words of encouragement can you offer? We've all been
Hmm.
there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there and I go in and out of feeling there.
Same girl, same.
Get a dog. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you know, I went through that whole cycle. It's way too much work. I just
No,
it's
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
don't listen to Raquel. It's
Don't listen to
expensive.
me. Don't listen. It's expensive. It's a job. No, if you are feeling lonely, know that this too shall pass, because it's again, it's a temporary feeling, and learning to be in your own solitude could actually be really exciting and really fun, and fall in love with yourself. If it's a romantic thing and you're feeling lonely and you're craving somebody else, um you have to just sit with yourself. Find little things that you like to do that make you happy, hobbies, or go and reach out to your friends. Reach out to your friends and do something that you've never done before. Make it, instead of sitting in that puddle of just like, when am I going to find my partner? When am I going to find the one? When is somebody going to love me the way I want to be loved? Like, do all that for you. And I'm telling you, the more that you pour into yourself, the more you are going to be a magnet for all of the things that are meant for you. And try not to dwell on that, because if you sit and dwell on how lonely you are, all you're doing is attracting more situations that are going to make you feel lonely. I
Mhm.
have no problem. People think I'm nuts. I'm like, really? Is it that weird? I love going out to dinner by
Oh, I
myself,
do the
lunch by
same.
myself. Like, I
I've
love
even
doing things
traveled by
alone.
myself. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just pick up and go.
You get to control the energy in your life, and whether it's just your own energy or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like you're not settling for anything that's making you feel shitty. So
I
like
mean,
you're winning.
even like a Friday night, for me it's wine. So bottle of wine, I make a
Mhm.
nice like recipe, pull out a recipe, make a nice dinner, Netflix and chill. And girl, that is a happy moment for me.
That's the
I'm good.
best. Go do a hot yoga class, come home, take a hot bath, like just things like that. Find what it is that makes you feel good
Mhm.
and do more of it. Do more of that,
Yeah.
and eventually you won't feel lonely anymore. And it's the best feeling to be alone in your own space and not feel lonely. Like that's how you know you're really in your power.
Uncomfortable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Raquel, you're like amazing, but I cannot let you go without you telling us a little bit about the new music you're creating. I've seen your videos with your group. What's going on with that?
So much stuff is going on right now. So we're in a bit of a transition right now, and I've recently kind of I've been doing a lot of shifting in the last, especially in the last year. But in the last few years, lots of shifts have happened since Songland. After Songland, I was writing for like from 2020 to like the end of 2021. And then full transparency, was just like mentally just like not there. Like I was burnt out, was really tired. I started to get in my head and just think that I was not good enough. And all of those just like imposter syndrome started to come in. So I stopped writing for about almost 2 years now. Recently I have made the decision to go back to songwriting almost full time now. And we're not really focusing on the band anymore. There's just certain things like within us three that are being worked out. And, all good things though. Like I love those girls. They're so talented. And we're all individually just trying to figure out our own space in this industry. So right now I am focusing on songwriting for other artists and just other opportunities. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just want to be creative. I'm writing in so
Well,
many
please,
different genres,
but
and
you have to keep singing because
I
you
will.
are.
I will.
And by the way, I did ask her to sing, but the environment, this virtual environment is not great for that. But I did ask because she has an amazing voice. So please
Thank
don't stop
you.
singing. Do not stop singing because
Thank
you
you. I
are
appreciate it.
amazing.
I still want to do things like on social media. Honestly, that stuff was so fun and really, again, therapeutic.
You
Singing
could
for
keep.
me.
I mean, if you love it, you should definitely keep gifting us with that
Thank you.
talent.
I will. I definitely will in my own way and whatever feels natural. Like I have my piano that I've been
Okay.
starting to kind of like get back on and relearn. And so I definitely won't stop singing. I just think for me right now, I'm going to be 30 this year and I really need to make another shift in my life to help me get to that next chapter of where I want to be.
Love
Eventually I
that.
want to meet my husband and I want to have children and I want to I just want to continue growing. And that's where I feel like this timing is everything. And this is what feels right now, and who knows what will happen next, but I'm very excited for this new journey that I'm on. And
And
yeah.
we're excited for you for
Thank
sure.
you.
I know we'll keep seeing you. Please tell our listeners how they can find you, learn more about you.
I am really on Instagram. Instagram is the place where I feel like I spend the most time after my 3 year
After
break
your
that
hiatus.
3 week break, not 3 years. Oh my gosh, imagine. That would be actually amazing. 3 weeks, but I'm back on Instagram. Raquel X Castro is my handle. And yeah, that's where I'll be posting all of my updates, whether it's acting, singing, writing, everything's there.
Amazing. You're amazing. And I wish you the best. We will keep in touch. We'll have to get together for some vino next time I'm
Yes.
in LA.
I was going to say, whenever you're in LA, let me know.
Absolutely. Love you. Thank you so much for doing this. And
Of
thank you
course.
guys for joining us on this beautiful episode of AW Confidential Podcast. Talk to you soon.